Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a really exciting knife consult for you on a new knife from a new maker. If you follow my channel, perhaps you're aware that I'm a big fan of integral handled knives. As you can see around the circumference of your screen here, you can see some of the absolute finest examples of integral handled knives in the world. Number one is my Peter Rosenti Nirvana. This is the knife that started it all for me way back when I picked up the Spyderco version of this and learned that an integral handled folding knife has one piece of metal as its handle rather than two pieces as in the traditional folding knives with two frames. Here is a small Satori, also from Peter Rosenti. This is a Michael Raymond Starlit. This is a very fancy integral handled knife that will have a video on my channel in the very near future. Fantastic workmanship here. And absolutely the finest piece on the table is this Scott Cook Luxa. This is a very interesting knife right here that I need to call Mr. Cook about before I make the video so that I can have all the details. This was the original integral handled knife. Now, as the years have progressed from the creation of that Luxa, there have been some very, very rapid developments. Namely, WE knives have been taking over the world in terms of knives. They are now manufacturing knives for all different types of producers. Here is a Valence Knives Gamma. This is a Something Obscene Company Nimley. This is the Mass Drop and Gavco Knives collaboration. All of these knives are made by WE Knives, and this new knife right here is no exception. What I have in front of you today is the Bade Modern Designs, or BMD Wolverine. This is also an integral handled knife manufactured by WE Knives that intends to bring a significant value to the folding knife in the folding integral knife market. Typically, knives that are integral handled are either custom knives like the ones I showed at the beginning of this video that start somewhere in the $1,300 range and go up from there. This Scott Cook costs upwards of $5,000 because of its actual spec. It's a crazy expensive knife. But what Bade Modern Designs creator, his name is Vahit Dincman, wants to bring affordable integral folding knives to the market, and this is his first effort, the Wolverine. And I want to give you a quick rundown of the fact that it's M390 steel, ceramic ball bearings, titanium handle, carbon fiber inlays, and these knives are going to come in at $279. That's right, under $300 for an M390 titanium integral knife from WE Knives, and I think that we are going to see some very interesting designs coming out of this guy right here. So that has been his goal, to create these integrals and bring them to market. So let's go ahead and take a look at this knife. It's an interesting story that this knife was actually sent to me directly from the WE Knives factory. Vahit has not actually handled his own knife yet. He designed this, sent this to them, and then they sent me the very first prototype. So I'm very honored to have this and show this to you guys, and I really want to get some feedback on this. I'm excited about this knife. As you guys have seen on my channel, I like to bring these sort of no-name manufacturers, these guys using WE Knives to build the knives, to the front to see if they're making good designs. This one is very exciting to me for all those reasons. So up front, we're looking at a 3¼ inch blade of M390, about 3.6 back to the pivot. You're looking at about a 7.5 inches overall length right here, 4¼ on the handle, with an effective grip area of about 3.75, 3.8 inches right there. The blade stock is coming in at a standard 156 thousandths, and the handle is coming in at 0.51 inches in overall thickness. So a fairly standard overbuilt size folder, or overbuilt folder right here, with the thick blade stock and the 1/2 inch handle. Here I'll bring out another couple of knives for a size comparison. Here you can see a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and a Para 3. This knife slots more towards the Para 3 size category than the Para 2. You'll see that the handle is smaller on this with a similar overall blade. So it is on the smaller end and very EDC focused, something that I really like. A lot of times these bigger, these integrals tend to come in bigger forms like the WE 811 and the Riot Jack this year. This is a nice, slim, small integral folder. So let's go ahead and break this knife down anatomically and see what we're looking at. Up front is a blade of M390 steel done in this Wharncliffe style blade shape. It's almost a sheep's foot. It is a very functional blade shape. It's got a nice tip on it and it's got a nice rounded belly right here. Very good for everyday carry needs. Very easy to get the finger over the top and do some draw cuts. It is flat ground to about 75%. There is a flat here that has been done in a satin finish. The primary bevels have been done in a heavy stone wash. The sharpened edge is very sharp. It comes with this full-size sharpening choil / finger choil. He intended this to be a hybrid finger and sharpening choil where you can get your finger in there successfully. My fingers are rather fat, and so it fills that space up. But if you have skinnier fingers or you use the tip of your finger, you really can get in there and use that choil quite nicely. As you'll notice, there is a large and prominent hole in the blade, and yes, indeed, you can spider flick this knife quite well. As is true for most WE knives, they have tuned the detent quite well so that you can either flick it open with the finger or flip it open with the flipper tab right there, and it works quite well. I really enjoy this blade shape. I think that it is a no-nonsense, very functional blade. The relatively high flat grind, I know that it only comes up 75% of the way, but it is a tall flat grind, and so it does come very thin behind the edge, and it slices quite well. I really, really like this blade. I think that it works quite well. I could do without the oversized hole right here, but I don't find that to be an issue in my EDC cutting tasks. I just find that it makes the blade a little bit wider maybe than it needs to be in this dimension right here. That's personal preference only. Moving back to the pivot, this thing runs on ceramic bearings, as is true for most WE knives. It has ceramic bearings and phosphor bronze washers running on steel washers to keep the longevity there for this knife. As is true of most WE knives as well, this came very smooth right out of the box. This is going to need some wearing in and probably a bit of a tune. I'll probably take it apart, check out the insides, and clean it up and oil it up a little bit to see if that improves the action. I'm sure it will. The action, I can tell, in a few weeks is going to be very, very smooth, and we'll see what that's like. Moving back to the handles here, this thing has this integral handled 6AL4V titanium here. Here you can see that the spine has been milled with these cutouts. These are not sharp. These have all been knocked down, and they are not sharp in any way. They're very comfortable in the hand. You don't even feel that they are there. You can see that they've milled out an area here for a carbon fiber inlay. The carbon fiber has also been milled extensively, a very nice amount of chatoyance going on there. Take a look at these awesome, what I'm going to call Wolverine claw marks on the handle right here. They look as if this thing has been gouged deeply by some blades, and I find that to be very cool. On the back side here, you can see that there is a 3 pattern right here on the lock bar cutout. You can see that the clip, being a 3D milled clip, does a very beautiful job of reaching up, over, and around that area on the handle right there so that it slides in and out of the pocket beautifully. There is exactly the right amount of spring and tension on this. This is a beautifully done pocket clip. It rides right on the smooth part of the handle, so it's very easy to get in and out there. One thing that an integral handle does is that it does increase the weight of a knife slightly because you have a ton of metal on there, but this is coming in at 4.78 ounces, so not crushingly heavy, but rather heavy for a 3.25-inch blade, so just something to be aware of. The ergonomics are excellent. My larger, extra large size hand, size 8 sterile glove, fills the regular grip completely, and it is a great, great grip, very comfortable in my hand. The thumb rests nicely on the little ramp right there. There are no hot spots in my hand. There is a minor hot spot when I open the knife. The tail end of the knife right here has got a couple of corners that are not sharp, but you can feel them when you're flipping the knife. It is not by any means a deal breaker. It is not as bad as some other knives. I think the Kaiser Critical was the worst knife in this regard, but you can feel it, and I did express that to Vahit, and he may be trying to make that different on the final production model. However, what I would say is if this knife were to go into production as it is now, I think it would be a smash hit. It is a very, very nice knife. integral handle, very well made, very nicely designed, nice ergonomic design, super functional blade, a lot of fun to play with. You can spider flick it, you can flip it, and at $279 for M390 ceramic bearings, titanium and carbon fiber, this is a hell of a deal. So definitely keep an eye out for Bade Modern Designs and the knives that they're coming out with. Keep an eye on Vahit Dincman and the knives that he's going to be making. Go ahead and follow him on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram as Dr. Frunkey. Click like and subscribe, and as always, guys, take care.